I'm a first-generation student. My family is a family of immigrants.
Even though my nuclear family didn't have, a history of completing college, but I knew for me that was my pathway out.
College is a defining moment in life, but many Americans will tell you its cost has truly defined its impact on theirs.
While it was a great experience, I made great network connections, I learned a lot. After I finished, I found that employers weren't really offering much by way of competitive salaries for that degree. And I found myself wondering, was it even worth getting that degree?
I was raised in poverty.
Where Tyrone Hanley grew up, college is not a guarantee.
My mom raised us in Section 8 housing.
He overcame the odds and went on to graduate law school. But the journey to a better life has a price.
Right now, it's over $200,000 in student debt.
I wouldn't go to grad school again. I would do undergrad again, but I would probably prioritize the schools that had offered me, like the state schools that had offered me a more reasonable financial package.
Jessica Gowrich says it's hard to think of the future when she's still paying for what it took to earn undergraduate and graduate degrees.
How can I even think about bringing a child into this world when I've got almost $100K in debt?
More than 44 million Americans are in student loan debt, which is larger than the entire population of California. But during the pandemic, the government put a pause on borrowers having to make payments on federal student loans.
I've been able to put that money aside for my savings, and now I have more savings than I ever had in my entire life.
October could be an unwelcome return to normal. Borrowers will have to start making payments again.
I went to law school, and my parents couldn't afford to send me to college.
DC Council member Janice Lewis George still carries tens of thousands of dollars of student debt herself.
For many of us, we had no other option, and we were sold a dream. With a big price tag.
African American college graduates owe, on average, $25,000 more than college grads who are white.
In the Black community, it just feels like student loan debt is literally stifling our ability to even be able to attain even just an inch of wealth or progress as a community.
She introduced a resolution in her city that was unanimously approved by the council, calling on President Biden to cancel student loan debt. Cities like Boston and Philadelphia have done the same.
We're trying to make this a national push. So what's next is sending our resolution to other cities across this country and saying, hey, let's stand together in solidarity and let this administration know that student loan debt is a crisis.
Critics point to the cost of forgiving student loans and say it's unfair to let those with debt off the hook.
You need to go to college, and in many cases, you need to go to graduate school in order to get a decent income, especially if you're someone like me who grew up poor.
My parents didn't know how to advise me in this process. I didn't have anyone guiding me on, how to fill out my FAFSA or what was a good scholarship amount or what's a good loan or what's a good interest rate. These were things I didn't understand until years later.
It's easy to point to numbers to show how big of an issue student debt is. Those with it say to see its true toll, look to the people within its grip.
I think through our stories, people really can have a better understanding from an emotional and human level to really wrap their heads around this issue and to understand what my generation and younger generations are dealing with in this moment.